What was the black market in your school? Me and my friend had several get-rich-quick schemes that never paid off. A few that come to mind. We got the idea of breeding my and his dog to get puppies and sell them as here, so he brought his dog over and we locked them in my room to get the deed going. After about 30 minutes we got talking and realized both our dogs were castrated and males, so we dropped that plan. Second plan was when my older brother got a surround hi-fi stereo in his room. This was 1999, so that was still somewhat uncommon. Me and my buddy charged a fee for people to come and watch movies, cinema style, at my house. Third, when we found a dildo in the room of my friend's mother, we charged a fee for people to come and see his mom's dildo. This screams teenager in the 90s LMAO. In my 9th grade English class, there was this kid who would bring soda and Pop-Tarts to class and sell them as sure we weren't allowed to eat in class. So I had to eat my chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts discreetly. Eventually, the teacher put a stop to it, but it was a good run while it lasted. In 11th history, I once bought a Pepsi for $50 from the kid who sold random things. Pretty sure he also sold graphing calculators. Every college student in a mile radius, asterisk asterisk how much, asterisk asterisk. I wanna say $30, but don't know since I didn't buy from anyone. Pretty sure they were stolen. There was a kid who sold lemonade out of his car. He made it a real business after high school. I wonder how he's doing with COVID. Lemonade. I literally sold stretched out, dried baby wipes for $2 a piece. Baby wipes get super soft when they're dry. Or at least, that brand did. And my classmates were fascinated. I claimed to have sewn these mini blankets myself. It worked for the entirety of 3rd grade before I got called out and cancelled in 4th. When I was in grade school, I started making mini clothes out of fleece and sewing them on my Hello Kitty sewing machine. I charged like $0.25 for each outfit, but it very quickly became an issue with people trying to steal my supplies and others not being able to purchase the clothes. It got shut down and I had to low-key sell the clothes at recess. Oh, I feel for you. We had a girl who used to sell Barbie clothes that way. But I think she had a real sewing machine, and she reduced patterns from Butterick and the like. So the clothes were modern, but unlike trademarked Barbie clothes in the store, affordable. She got shut down because she sold them in elementary school, and it was asking for trouble. The seller was not on a roll, straight a kind of kid, and she stopped because she didn't want to have a bad mark on her record. In high school there was this game, Bad, where people would try to stealth zip tie other people's bags to their desks, shoes together, whatever, so they'd be stuck when the bell rang. One guy sold the heavy-duty zip ties and another sold mini scissors for easy escape. Plot twist, they were the same dude. Energy drinks in middle school. There were 2 kids who just happened to have parents who own liquor stores in the town. One kid started taking stuff from their parents' supply and selling it out of his backpack. Other kid caught wind of it and figured he should get into the game too. Honestly, the other kid finding out was the best thing for me because the market adjusted just like it should have. Kid 1 was selling warm Monster energy drinks for $5. New kid came in and sold them for $4. Kid 1 came back with 3.50 and they were like kinda cold lol. Eventually they both got caught and got in trouble, but I took advantage while they were around. With things like that, you just tell the guy selling them for more that the other is selling for less than he actually is. He'll go even lower. Wasn't really a black market, but people would offer service for things. Not many people like giving money, so here's how it would go. Dude, can you get me a can of dip and some booze? I will come to your farm or ranch to work for it. Sure, just come and feed the cattle Saturday morning and it's yours. That sounds like something Albertans or Texans would do lol. Alberta is the Texas of Canada. I'm a Texan, and I've heard of this cold Texas up north. 'Tis a legend among us. Gum and Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards were a legit business when I went to school. Buy a booster pack or two with your lunch money. Sell the rares at a profit. Eat lunch and invest the remaining money into tomorrow's booster packs whilst keeping the commons. Funny story. Back in grade school we had these caught being good paper passes that teachers gave you on rare occasions. They would give them to kids and put it in a raffle at the end of the month for a gift or something. Me and my friends got someone to let us see it. We printed out a bunch of them and started to sell them $5 a piece. Sooner or later, all the teachers and our principal got suspicious when all the bad kids started turning these passes in. So we decided to end our scam by printing out 200 passes and handing them out randomly. We passed them around to so many people that we could never be traced. It was basically hyperinflation. The passes were being circulated around so much that the school ended up discontinuing the reward program. Monsieur, isn't this a plotline in Diary of a Wimpy Kid lol? There were at least 5 folks selling weed on a large scale, and a few others selling other stuff. One guy sat next to me in history and one day in class opened his bag and showed me a very large mason jar just stuffed full of weed, next to a scale and baggies. These folks would always talk about running pounds on a train from California. People got caught, but were only put on a program to keep track of them. Monsieur, some other folks turned to stealing band equipment and computers, and selling that off, for being one of the nicer public schools in town. It was full of unchecked crime. Also had a guy that would put different OS on iPods for a fee, cause those were a thing. Not sure how black market that is though. 100% totally get unchecked crime at it. Nicer school. We were the school in our district with the best test scores. Rich kids. Blah blah blah. Drugs of all sorts were pretty much everywhere, and the staff was ambivalent as all fuck towards it. Candy. I swear the only reason kids were nice to me in 9th and 10th grade was because I always had candy in my backpack. Also, in the psych ward, lifesavers. If your parents gave a shit, they'd bring you a bag and you'd get a Dixie cup full of them at break, and trade flavors with other kids or share with your friends who didn't have any. Different flavors were worth more. My school had a legal candy trade. It was weird. I knew a lot about law, got hired as a lawyer, and had a court case where a kid tried to get free candy and everyone wanted his shaming rumors to be official. I'm still waiting for my $40. Aside from the actual illicit things like drugs and smokes, we had basically a forerunner to Uber Eats. Seniors who were allowed to leave during lunch break and had a car would go pick up lunch some place for a fee. This was especially good if you had a free period before lunch, as you could run out, grab the food, and the customer had hot lunch from wherever at the start of lunch period. Yes, we had this too, only high school allowed off campus. Desperate middle schoolers would pay high prices for a bag of chips or something. I ran it. It was $1 soda cans out of unused lockers. I moved inventory almost weekly and had multiple kids helping me out in exchange for free soda. Made upwards of $3,000 over 4 years. Almost got caught once because a new student was given a lock I was using, but I managed to move inventory before a teacher found it. This was a huge school. Mind you, I had probably 20-ish lockers. You were the first comment I've seen that had kids helping you with it. If I had gone to your school, I would have done it for free. My payment is the thrill, the status, and most importantly, the feeling of running a black market. Those big-ass round lollipops that come in funky flavors. I used to take a train to school every day and a kid would sell them too for $1. Probably gave him $200 personally over the course of middle school. I like lollipops. You can shoplift those like nothing. If he did, he made pure fucking profit off of everyone who bought them. Monsieur. My locker. Condoms, smokes, cider and chewing gum. Monsieur. I sold condoms and once or twice jars of liquor. One guy was literally running a convenience store out of his locker one year. One dude was selling Molly and gum packs. Some kids stole stuff from the school store and sold them online. I think it was stuff like graphing calculators. So I think they probably made a pretty penny. And speaking of graphing calculators, people traded games and programs for them, monsieur. There was a rumor that people were selling public speeches too, but that's pretty boring. Trades of stolen goods shoplifted and stored in caches are only a few knew about. Like a stash of porno mags and alternative comics in an artillery box buried under that kid Gary's sandbox. Or the petty cash stored in the knothole of an oak tree on the property of a guy who was rumored to shoot kids who snuck into his backyard via said oak tree. There were some suppliers for expendable things like caps for cap guns, illegal fireworks, M80s and the like, candy, cigarettes, and beer. Mostly teens who needed the cash to buy things like pot. Our local pot supplier was also our local Boy Scout troop. Rumor has it, they were growing pot under the shady trees of the Scout Lodge, which was always in a state of disrepair. There were also pot fields in a local private property called Black Pond, which was a summer camp for rich kids during the summer, and boarding school for girls of the super rich the rest of the year. The fuck, man? You're living in a Stephen King book. When I was in middle school, someone started selling crushed up Smarties that kids would snort. I'm Canadian and I at first thought it meant the chocolate ones, and then realized it meant the things that we call rockets. I'm Australian, and our Smarties are also chocolate. We had a weed dealer, I think that counts. Ours got arrested and all the druggies panicked because the police read his conversations and everyone who bought from him had to come to the police station with their parents to have a little talk, including me. Most awkward conversation ever. This is why you don't talk over text with your dealer. Big fucking mistake. Call and then delete the logs. Or use a burner phone. Not mine. But I just found out that my friend's sister makes their mom order venti-sized drinks at Starbucks with 3 separate ice cups, distributes the venti drink to the other cups and sells them for $5 a piece. Literally costs her $0 because her mom buys them and gets $15 at least twice a week. I used to draw hentai for a coup of bucks. Also, the default punishment for bad behavior and stuff was copying the rules of the school a certain number of times. I wrote a few more copies every time I got punished and sold them to classmates. Haha, that's funny. Hentai was a long ways in the future when I was in school. 80s. But I drew and sold nudes for $5 to $10 a piece. Most of my requests were for the supermodels of the time. I didn't have to write the school rules but ended up being caught once and having to spend 2 days in school suspension, which was a special kind of hell. You weren't allowed to do anything except sit silently for the entire day and stare at the wall. There was a kid who gave away sandwiches for free, but the school stopped him because he was creating a gang culture. Geez, what kind of sandwiches was he giving away? Normal ones. Drugs, of course, and donuts. Drugs to sell to the kids and donuts to throw at the police if they catch you. The perfect distraction. 2 words, silly bands. Pirated music. I used to charge people $1 per song to burn them a CD. I'd go on Napster, DL Music, and burn a CD. I made all kinds of spending money. I had a high-speed connection which was fairly rare at the time. It would take me all of 5 minutes. Same, but LimeWire instead of Napster. I think I gave my mom's computer virtual gonorrhea. Pokemon cards. I went to a private school. Geez, some of the answers here are hardcore than me. I see that private school education paid off. We have this girl that's really sweet and cute and always wears pastel colors. She's so unassuming and innocent looking that none of our teachers will ever know she sells pot. Muffins with edible Hello Kitty stickers on them, monsieur. Back in elementary school, more specifically the last couple years, it was all about mechanical pencils. Having a lot of them was a symbol of power and wealth, and trades would occur based on how desirable the mechanical pencils were. However, if you had a really unique mechanical pencil, this was seen as even more powerful than having an abundance of mediocre ones. Theft would occur here and there, and this stirred up attention. Classes were formed and social circles were reflective of this. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.